It is 4:31 on Thursday, April 25th, 2024, and I call this meeting of the Meridian Historic Preservation Commission to order. Roll call. Blaine Johnson here. Pam Jagosh. Jack Keller.
Here.
Heather Giacomo.
Here.
Patrick Giddings.
Here.
Ken Freeze.
Here.
Deborah Pitts. Here. Thank you. Adoption of the agenda.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Freeze, second by Commissioner Giddings for adoption of the agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Approval of our minutes from March 28th, 2024.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the minutes from the 3/28/24 meeting.
And Mr. President, I second that.
Motion by Commissioner Giddings, seconded by Commissioner Freeze for adoption of our March 28th, 24 meeting. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Approval of our monthly financial statements. Anything new?
No new items since last month.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the monthly financial statement.
Mr. President, I second that.
Motion by Commissioner Giddings, seconded by Commissioner Freeze for adoption or approval of our monthly financial statements. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Thank you. We will go on to old business now. Updates to Meridian City Code, provisions regarding commission duties, powers, memberships, qualifications, and meetings. Emily Kane, Attorney's Office. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me. Blaine, are you the chair or the
Yes,
president?
yes.
The chair, okay. As your chair,
Both.
or maybe both,
Yeah.
okay. I'm Emily Kane. I'm a deputy city attorney in the city attorney's office. I work for and with Bill, and I'm here to present to you some upcoming changes to Meridian City Code. The reason I'm working on the city code is that our citywide strategic plan has a goal for the city attorney's office, and we actually only have one goal that's assigned to us, and that is to update the ordinances and simplify processes. It continues in order to improve effectiveness and provide premier services to our citizens. And the part of that strategy is to perform a complete review of all ordinances, codes, and policies in the city of Meridian. So I'm marching through the city code and updating everything and kind of streamlining, cutting out outdated provisions and bringing everything kind of up to where we are today. So we have currently, I think we have 11. Actually, I think we have 12, but Parks and Recreation is moving to Title V. Anyway, I'm digressing, but this is my checklist of the titles that I'm working on. I've finished Title VII, Traffic and Parking, and I gave myself credit for Title XI, which is our zoning code, even though that takes care of itself. That's its own process, but I checked it off. So I'm trying to check off Title II. We're not going in order, and everything's kind of in different stages of completion, but long story short, I'm now working on Title II, which affects you because it's about commissions and committees. In Title II, we have, in addition to HPC, we also have the Solid Waste Advisory Commission, Arts Commission, Parks and Rec, Planning and Zoning, Transportation Commission, the Board of Adjustment. And we also have other bodies that are in other titles of City Code. The Compensation Committee, Districting Committee are in Title I. The Impact Fee Advisory Committee is in Title X. And then we also have boards that are more ad hoc membership with more fluid participation, the Meridian Youth Advisory Council, the Meridian Anti-Drug Coalition, and the Senior Advisory Board. So the idea is to bring everybody into Title II and kind of standardize your provisions. So as I mentioned, we're moving the redundant provisions that are in each commission's code. So instead of repeating every general piece of information for each commission, arts, historic preservation, solid waste, like that, instead I structured it to have an overarching umbrella general description of how each of those commissions operate. So all of your operations will be in one place. you're an advisory commission, like your cohort, and so all advisory commissions will have the same language. I updated the language of that relates specifically to HPC to reflect your current functions and kind of consolidate and unify, as I mentioned. This has the effect of clarifying the roles of and responsibilities. So there was some crossover or possibly confusion about what staff does and what the commissions do, and this update will help clarify some of that. This won't affect you because you're in full compliance of the open meetings, public records, and ethics laws, but that clarifies the application of those laws to all of the various groups, specifically the commissions. And as I mentioned, brings that uniformity in how the code is structured. So right now I'm on the first, well, not on the first step. I have written the code and updated worked with the mayor to get the okay. So I'm kind of giving you the update, giving you the overview. After that, I will proceed to city council and give city council the overview of these changes. And then with a little luck, we will have the ordinance adopted May or June, beginning of the summer. So I'm gonna move over to you have handouts with you, or Cassandra is nice enough to email this to you. So I'm sorry for the last minute. I really meant to do that earlier. So please do feel free to, I mean, it's good. It's good to put you to sleep if you have insomnia, to go through the entire ordinance and let me know if you do have any changes. But for today, or sorry, if you have any feedback. For today, I'm just gonna do a quick run through of what I've done and what you see here, and the changes that you can expect to see to these provisions. So as I mentioned, advisory commissions will now be under this umbrella provision that contains all the generalized information. That again is you and arts and all the commissions that provide advice and recommendations to our city leadership. We also will have statutory commissions, which is Planning and Zoning Commission and the Impact Fee Advisory Committee. Those are really creatures of statute. And then we have our ad hoc committees that I mentioned, and our standing committees, which is a committee that's convened for a specific purpose. So where to begin? So I won't read every little bubble to you, but I did clarify that the advisory commissions are all subject to the open meetings law. All advisory commissions will have bylaws, a chair or vice chair, an annual report. And again, this is really not a change for you. You are already doing this. One thing we wanted to clarify is that commissioners cannot enter into contracts, not even verbal contracts, on behalf of the city. Some other jurisdictions have run into some issues with that, so we wanted to really clarify the roles of commissioners as volunteers. You're really not authorized to enter into contracts on behalf of the city. I think you know that, and no one's attempted to do that, so thank you. That goes for applying for grants. That's a form of a contract. Grants come with strings attached. It takes a lot of work to get them and monitor them and make sure we comply with the provisions of the grant and sometimes the applicable laws. So that's a task for staff, not volunteers. And then entering private property, I think no one's doing that, but typically we want that to go through staff, as you've heard in your training about ex parte. And also we just really don't want people trespassing. Again, I don't think you're doing that. So no change there. All of the advisory commissions now, this ordinance talks about how the members are appointed, the size, the minimum age. Clearly commissioners are volunteers. The term of service is 3 years, except for the youth commissioner, whose term is 1 year. This establishes a process for filling vacancies, dealing with partial terms, clarifies attendance requirements, and then talks about how city staff is assigned to support the commissions. Gonna move to your specific Historic Preservation Commission section, the structure for all of the advisory commissions will be establishment, why was the commission established, so addressing your purpose, the duties and powers, so what are you authorized to do, qualifications, who may serve on the commission, and then when does the commission meet. So for the most part, your ordinance involves some rewording and moving things around, consolidating. You had a few redundant provisions. Some things did come out. I think when the HPC was initially conceived, it was really, there was a lot of room to grow into that original list of duties and powers. And some things definitely HPC did and are still doing, and some things really are not necessary. So those are the things that are coming out. For example, HPC does not typically weigh in on private real estate transactions that are related even to historic properties. Certainly that can happen, and that's still covered by a catch-all authorization provision that survives, but it's just not a specific task of the commission. You did have a provision that talked about entering into contracts, so I removed that. That's a task for Cassandra. Those are operational. There's some other operational roles of staff. But again, the purpose of this is really to empower the commission to focus on your charge, which is to provide expert input and citizen input on historic properties and preserving Meridian's history. So the plan is that this would not change anything about what you're already doing, but it would really clarify your mission and what you are here to do. I think that covers, there was the big change for you is that it would be official that you would not meet in November and December because your meeting always falls on or near Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that would be, they often get or always get canceled. So now we wouldn't have to cancel them because you only would meet those the other 10 months out of the year. So maybe I buried the lead. That was the big headline for what's changing for you. I think that's the end of my overview. Does anyone have any questions or feedback?
2 questions.
Yes.
On the cancellation then of the November, December meeting, can we still have a special meeting if we deem necessary to combine those 2 together?
Yes, absolutely. You can have a special meeting. You could meet each month. It would be a special meeting, but business could proceed just like a regular meeting.
Okay. The second one, and it's only title only, I'm assuming we're going back to chair and vice chair for make everything consistent within the city. Because right now, I think I'm president, other commissions are chairman. It doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me. I'm fine with that. So that's just clarification.
Correct. It just is uniformity across the commissions. Surprisingly, that has been the most controversial issue that I've faced in doing this. So not all presidents want to be the chair, but the plan is to just rip the Band-Aid off and make that change.
Okay.
I'm glad that you're okay with it.
Any other questions?
I have a question. This goes in with entering into contracts and whatnot. I guess my question is, to me, that's kind of obvious, but I'm just wondering how far can I go? For instance, let's say that we need money for, or there's some project that we need money for. Can I go do some research, find out that, oh, it looks like there is a grant that we might be able to apply for from XYZ Foundation? And let's just say I make a phone call or a email inquiry to say, what would we have to do to apply for this money? That's all fair up to that point.
Mr. President, Commissioner, so yes, research is okay. That definitely applying for grants should go through staff. And I would say anything beyond cursory research really also is a staff function. Certainly the idea is worth discussing. Grants are a heavy lift for the city, and there's a lot of accounting and tracking, so it ends up involving Cassandra and my office and the finance department. So we do have a grant policy. So there's a policy that controls how city staff can apply for grants. And that's in large part to manage our resources with regard to what we invest in complying with grant requirements. So grants are great, and especially in this area, in the area of historic preservation, I think can get a lot done, but it's definitely something we are judicious about within the city. So, and operationally, that is largely a staff function to apply for and then monitor and deal with those grants. So I would say, yes, ideas are great, but definitely much beyond the initial idea really needs to be left to staff.
My intent is to try to take a little bit of workload off, and instead of saying, hey, go look for a grant, I would come back and say, hey, I think you can get a grant from this foundation, and take it from, then I'd let the city take it from there. So I've kind of done some legwork, but I understand I really can't do much more than that.
Yes, thank you. That's definitely, I think you're in the right zone. It's definitely because of how, because certainly we have a lot of grants and we have some really big grants, but what we've learned is that even the small grants take as much labor
Yeah.
as the big ones, because it's, we do need to comply with the terms of the grant. So to answer your question, it sounds like that's,
Thank
we're in agreement.
Any other comments?
Mr. President, I have a question.
Go ahead.
How are we going to address you now, Chairman Johnson or Chairman
It'll be Chairman,
Johnston?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, okay. Got it. Thank you.
As of May or June after it passes.
All right. Well, if you do think of a question, or if there's more feedback that you'd like to give when you've had more time to look at the materials, please do reach out. I'd be glad to talk to any one of you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will go on to updates, Eggers Farmstead. As of right now, there was a city council hearing in March. That application has been continued to May 7th on the recommendations of city council. The options are to have the silos remain on site, relocate to another location to yet to be determined. Right now, we will probably ask for the developer to disassemble the silos, and then we'll find a place to store them. And then we'll probably start looking also for recommendations, and maybe some engineering costs for analysis on the structure to see what has to be done to possibly rebuild it. So that's where the Eggers Farmstead is at right now. And hopefully 7th, we'll have some more information and I can bring it to you in May. Historic Preservation Plan.
Mr. President, just a sort of a sidebar on that, the Metal Detecting Club is having a relic search out there this Saturday to see what can be found before it goes under the bulldozer. It has been coordinated with David Bailey
Okay,
and also the Meridian City Historical Center. They were invited to attend. They're unable to have anybody go out there. However, Luke Carvener, one of the congressmen, one of the councilmen, he said he may try to get out there on Saturday.
okay, what time?
It's going to be from 11 to 3.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that as long as HPC itself didn't ask for permission,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
so-
No, this is,
Okay.
this was me as a member of a metal detecting club. Okay, just letting you know what's going on.
Okay, Mr. Neri, do you see a problem with that?
No, sorry, don't.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to historic preservation plan. Any updates on preservation plan?
No real updates, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, but just to reiterate what I said last month, we were awarded the grant from SHPO for the 12,000. Still waiting on the agreement to come from them. Oh, and one update, we did have a question about doing a direct contract with the local consultant, which we did confirm is we can do that.
Okay. Perfect. Landmarking program, historic research. Are we still getting together Friday? Is that tomorrow?
Uh, Not tomorrow, May
Next week?
3rd. May 3rd.
Okay,
So we have, we're meeting with Sherry from JUB that is our consultant on the research for this. And we'll have myself and our chair and vice chair. And actually SHPO has said that they can come out too.
oh,
So
nice.
Maria from our CLG liaison. So
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We will go on to old business now. National Register for Historic Places, the plaque coordination for Meridian Speedway. Commissioner Giddings, are you going to help coordinate that?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. I think the person that I had been given the name to contact on that was not the correct person. I think we need to talk to the dairy board about that. And I haven't received any follow-up information since then. But yeah, I'm more than happy to
Okay.
coordinate that.
Mr. Neri, if I remember right from our conversation, since the dairy board owns that, does the city still going to own the plaque out there since it's the dairy board?
So, Mr. President, members of the commission, yeah, so I did reach out to the president of the dairy board as well, Hans Brun. But yeah, so they own the property, we would have to own the plaques,
Right.
we'd have to have an agreement with them. So if they ever wanted to move it or remove it for whatever reason, then we would get it back.
Okay,
So we just need to work out those details. I don't anticipate a problem, I just haven't heard back from him.
okay, perfect. Any other discussion on Speedway nomination plaque?
So just to be clear then, Mr. Neri, we're waiting on feedback from you on that?
Well, I just pulled it up, I sent an email to Mr. Brun last week, just basically asking the basic questions that I just brought up.
Mhm.
And I haven't heard back from him, so I
Okay.
will follow up with him, just to say we just kind of want to keep this moving along, so we get this done.
Discussion and planning for Preservation Month, next month on the 18th, 10 o'clock, we will do walking tours. I think we decided we would do at least 2 that day, if I remember right. And any other quick items that we can do that day or a little bit before. I know I'd still like to put out those sandwich boards on some of the buildings the week before. So I may need some help on one day that week to put some up, and then Monday or Tuesday afterwards, go out and collect them and bring them back to City Hall.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help with that.
Okay. Cassandra, are those readily easily to get to?
Mr. Chair, I will make them readily easy
Okay.
to get.
I'll go through our walking tour. I'll just pick up the ones I think we should have. I don't know if we need to get them all, but if we can get 10 or so, then we can just get those signs put up. They'll be a little bit easier to take down and put back up, but I'll get you the list of what we want to do. I'll talk with Commissioner Giddings on that and we'll verify that, but yeah, we'll go that way. Thank you.
Mr. President, what was the date that we're going to put those up?
Let me look. That
Well,
date,
the tour is on the 18th.
yes. So, for my calendar. So if we are available like the 14th, 15th to put them out, let's just say the 15th.
Mr. President, I just realized something. I have a vacation planned that week. So I'm sorry, I apologize.
No worries. Make a quick calendar event.
I mean, just, I could be available 15th, 16th, or the 17th, just depends on what time.
Let's just plan on the 15th, 9:30.
15th, except for 9:30. Well, I just have a medical appointment at 9,
Okay,
so, but it's downtown, so I could probably make it at 9:30. 10 would be safer.
we'll just do 10:30. I'm not. So if we put them out on the 15th,
Where do you want to meet?
right here in City Hall. We'll just plan on the 22nd, 21st. Let's do the 21st.
So they'd stay out to the 21st?
Yes,
Okay. But the tours are on the 18th?
yes.
Okay.
We'll just say 10:30 again. Okay, perfect. We'll get the signs put out. We'll plan on the walking tour. The only other thing I can think of right offhand, and I don't know if it's possible or not, Cassandra, can we rerun the Facebook post from years ago when we first did the app and put that back for another?
Mr. Chair, I think I can copy and reshare it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be a good one to do again, so. Kind of a cheesy video, but it's not bad.
It's fun.
All right,
And Mr. Chair, so I'll do some marketing around the walking tour for the 18th. You said 10 o'clock for the first one. Is there a time for the second one?
I don't think we set one. We can plan for 1 o'clock.
I think the market might end at 1, so maybe 10 and noon.
Okay, we can do that. Yeah, that'll work for me. I'm talking, hope everybody else can make it.
Mr. President, these are tours that we'll be doing as a commission, right? Mr. President, I had one idea, and I don't know if this would be possible or not, but these tours will originate here in front of City Hall, I'm sure.
Mhm.
I wonder if it would be possible to have the Meridian History Museum open so that we could actually start the tours inside the Meridian History Museum and then move outside. I know that normally that's on a Saturday and I believe it's closed, so we would have to probably contact the library and see if that would be possible, but that was something I had thought of that might be good.
Yeah, if City Hall is closed on a Saturday, they're not gonna have keys for us to get in.
We could arrange for the temporary key, but it is actually the library's space, so have to get the library to open it. Yeah.
I think as long as we notice it good, that we're gonna meet right in front of City Hall at the main entrance, I think we'll be in good shape that way.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay,
Mr. President, a suggestion on that, to piggyback on that, we could mention at the beginning of the tour that there is this museum inside,
Mhm.
pointed out.
Yep. Cassandra, we had a banner made a couple years ago that would like go on a table with HPC on it. I don't know if we can put a table out there in the plaza somewhere with that banner on it.
Mr. Chair, I haven't seen the banner anywhere, so I'm not aware of where it is.
Okay,
The table, probably need to ask Main Street Market if that's okay with their setup, probably would be,
okay.
but I haven't seen a banner.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it. So, um, could you reach out to the market, just in case we find the banner, that maybe we can put it out? You know, we may just have a commission member stand here during the tours and maybe have some brochures available for people.
Yes,
So-
I can reach out to the market.
Okay, perfect. Any other discussions on Preservation Month?
We had talked about 2 tours, one at 10
At noon.
and noon. Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, with that, we will go on to review and training, walking tour guides. Barbara, you're up. Welcome.
Afternoon. I printed out copies for each of you. And my plan is that if you have comments or changes, that you'll let me know and I can make those changes. And then I will put together the spiral bound that you will take with you on your initial walking tour.
Oh, perfect.
Having led a couple of these tours, just a couple of notes. And how do you want to do this? Do you want to physically walk or do you just want to talk about it? And then, what's the best way for you all? So first of all, you can tailor this. If you have 2 tours that day, you can skip some parts. You can kind of gauge your audience. You can see, are they able to walk the whole way? Are you losing people? So you can kind of gauge it all. But the walk I have here is going to be between an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how much you talk, because I know each of you probably have things that you can share as well. So let's just take a quick gander at this little thing here. So safety first, always really important because, we don't want anybody getting hurt. And so I always think it's a good thing just to tell people we're going to mind the light, stay together. If you have a big group, always tell them, we're going to take half of us across, and if the other half, just wait, we'll be waiting for you. Make sure everybody has water, do all that good stuff. And then again, just remind them of it. It'll be about an hour to an hour and a half. And then I put together, I'm hoping this is something that you all can really work off of. So it is, there are directions and all kinds of tidbits. So I hope this will work well for you all. When you talked about the History Center, Commissioner Giddings, I made sure that there's something in here to remind everybody to talk a little bit about it. I was really impressed with the historian's presentation at your last meeting because he certainly is pretty excited about what they have, and I thought it would be great if if people take advantage of that. A lot of folks, I'm sure, here in Meridian, you've got a lot of newcomers, so really quick thumbnail history is all laid out there. Again, you all may have things that you want to add to it. But I just figured these are sort of like the main points about where we are and why we're starting where we are. And then, of course, just something about the population of Meridian and how it's grown. This little handy dandy handout, while you're standing there and waiting for people to come around, it's always kind of fun to just share some of the photographs and things of the area where we're standing. So I'll go over this and then we'll go back to the tour note. So this is the Sanborn Fire Insurance Map from 1912. And I put it on the front because as you walk throughout the tour area, it'll be fun because you'll be able to point out some of those buildings that are still, you know, at the locations where they are today. Are you all familiar with these maps? Okay, so,
I actually got all the maps,
okay.
pieced them together.
Oh,
I
great.
have on my computer at least, I haven't printed it out, but I have kind of all the maps kind of pasted together to get a better idea how they all fit into the city rather than having a whole bunch of separate ones, which were kind of hard to figure out.
All of them.
Yeah.
Well, and so this, I think most of our tour route is on this map. And so again, I think it'll be kind of fun because people will not realize, you know, when they're standing on the city hall steps, you know, that this was the creamery and kind of get an idea of how the town was laid out. But this is fun to take as you go along throughout the whole tour to kind of point some things out. This will be spiral bound. And actually, as I'm sitting here talking for myself, I usually have one that has the text and one that has the photos so that it can be passed around. So that's how, so you will have two spiral bounds. But again, this is just kind of interesting. And I have to say, what I didn't realize, I kind of felt like somebody dumped some bricks on my head when I was working on your tour. I didn't really put together until the last couple of weeks that the oldest, really kind of like the oldest part of town is just across the street from us. And as we end the tour, you're walking past that area where the houses were built between 1895 and 1903. It was like, oh, it just didn't hit me until I was actually putting this together for you all. And then just a couple of other select images. I don't have a lot, but I thought this would be fun because of course you can see from where the railroad tracks are, you'll be able to see, you know, have this great view of Meridian from, you know, about 1910. And a lot of people just, you know, they'll look at these and just go, oh, wow, I had no idea. So I just selected a few that I thought would be useful to have as you're on your tour. And then, of course, I have a couple of the high school. So you have the original high school when it was first designed by Turtelot and Hummel, and then when the additions were made. So I thought that would be fun. And then the very last one, of course, because you know me and the streetcar, as we come back around the tour and you're standing right there by the Harvest building, I guess is what it's called now, this is what it looked like originally. So not a ton of photos, but I think this would be kind of fun and kind of add a little bit of, you know, information to the tour. And of course, you'll have the great signs that will be out. You have the houses and buildings that still have information. So I think this will help round everything out. And then I only did selected references. This is really for your purposes. If people say, where can I get more information? You know, I don't have Lila's book on here, though. I'm kind of embarrassed. I should have had They Came to Build a Community on here, and I missed it. But otherwise, this is for you all to use and to build on however you want. So then let's go back to our little tour here. And what I did is oh, yes. Oh,
Barbara, can you talk about these two photos
oh,
and where you're standing today?
that's a good point. So actually, if we're looking at the one that says the bird's eye view of Meridian looking down Broadway, this one is actually when you're standing at City Hall, when we go outside and we orient ourselves, we're looking at, I'm turned around right now, sorry, we're looking that direction, I believe, yeah, yeah. So you'll be looking northeast from the City Hall. And then the parade one, I have to tell you, I love this photo. I'm not sure of its exact location on Broadway. Lila turned me onto this picture, and I think I love the picture of the little girls and everything, and the fact that it's a dirt road. So the Alexander's building is there, so I think that this is, I actually am not sure of the exact location, but it's in the vicinity of City Hall. I know that doesn't completely answer the question, but. And the Alexander store is there in that building. So, you know, maybe I can spend some time looking at the Sanborn map and get the exact location. Or perhaps Commissioner Freeze knows right away where that one is. And of course, there are a lot more photos. And again, talking about the Meridian History Center and the whole online digitization that they're doing, all of that. I mean, there are lots of places now, I think, for people to look for different things. So I have you all, of course, starting right here at City Hall. And again, I tried to pick and put together some information that you all can share easily. I know you may have more information to share as well. And then talking about this current building today and, what it replaced. And I'm kind of embarrassed. There should have been a picture of the creamery in this packet. So I will add that before I give you the final, but I thought I had put a picture in there and I realized now it's not. But then again, this just ties into a little bit of that early history about Meridian and the dairy industry and that type of thing. And then, again, I tried to make it specific so that you all would know, just move to a different location. You can look at the feed elevator. You can talk a little bit about the building that is now the Zamzows. And then turn around and we'll head right up Main Street and walk up to the Modern Woodman. I have to tell you something else. I was not familiar. I did not really know the story of the Modern Woodman. All my life, I've heard about them. So I put some information in there because people will probably say, hey, who are the Modern Woodmen? And I also did that on the very beginning page because I want you all to make sure that you talk about who you are and what it is that you do. So that's right there in that very top when you're gathering everybody together so that people know. And I want people to know that you all have been a commission for several decades and that, if they look around the community, what's there is because of the work that you all have done as volunteers. So I just wanted that as a reminder in there. So as we move along, I just was trying to think about, each of these different buildings, the good locations to stop where you can keep everybody together. So I sort of highlighted them by these points. So we have the point A, which of course is our starting area. And then as we move up into the downtown area, it's the East Idaho Historic District. And of course, I know it's not designated an official district, but it's, it could be. And when you look at those buildings, that's what we came out of the survey that we did. So again, I tried to make sure there's some architectural information, there's some tidbits about the history, and I have that information in here. So I think you're pretty familiar with that block of East Idaho, which I have to say is a happening place. Every time I've been down here, it's so active with people coming and going. And then if you go to page 6, because people will say what makes a historic district, I called that out so that if people ask that question, then you can share that information. And I did say currently we don't have any designated historic districts, that type of thing. So just trying to get people to think a little bit about preservation. Then I have the directions. So from the East Idaho area, we're going to turn north and we're going to go all the way up to Pine Street. So that's the residential area. And I think we covered some of that in the tour we did last year. And again, knowing, how long it takes people to kind of group and walk along and whatever, I was trying to be kind of, pick some of the homes that definitely get a lot of attention already on the tour website that you all have put together, and then the ones that are definitely have some great architectural characteristics. And so we end up, of course, we've got the nurse house on there too, because I just think you have to point that house out as well. And the Tolith House, I made sure that we want to talk about the fact that it received an orchid last year and the importance of that. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. It's listed in the register. And then we continue over to the high school. So again, just some information about the high school. And I know some of you went to that high school and have stories you can share that will be interesting for people on the tour. Now, if things start to get a little long and you feel like people have had enough, then at any time you can say, okay, from this point, we'll go back to City Hall. Just keep an eye on your audience. I mean, this whole tour, again, could take up to an hour to an hour and a half, but it all depends on what people are looking like and feeling like. So then we next will do this residential area, which is the section along Main Street. And that actually has, quite a nice variety of architectural styles. That's that great area, of course, that, still looks residential but is commercial. And again, I tried to call out specific details about the people who may have lived in the house, the architectural characteristics. And you will see as you go through the tour, Craftsman style seems to be the most popular style of house in Meridian. So you'll see that is kind of written a lot about. And then I got us all the way over, I'm just to think, we're still walking along Main Street right now, talking about the Catholic Church. We've got a couple of other styles, the Tudor Revival with the Wolf House, the Accent Funeral Home. And then I ended up stopping right in that area, even though we talked about a couple more houses, I think when we were on our tour, trying to think about how to get us turned around and get us back here in a logical fashion. It seemed like stopping right there by the Accent Funeral Home and then walking back down to State Avenue, which has a couple more National Register homes, a couple more interesting bungalow styles, and then walking along State gets us back over there to Meridian Road. And then I called that the architectural smorgasbord, because as you walk along, there's Queen Anne, there's Ranch, there's Craftsman. It's a real mix of different things, which I think is kind of fun to talk about and to look at. And again, once trying to pull out the details and why specific styles were built when they were constructed, a little bit more about some of the people. So we end up going all the way down, I have to think about what we're doing here. We end up on State Avenue, looking for a place where we can cross safely at lights. So we'll cross over and we'll end up over on Pine Avenue, and that takes us over to the Neal House, and then we have a chance to stop and look at the school and talk a little bit about the school, and then come back around, and we end up over on Meridian Road, and there are a couple of, again, really nice properties on Meridian Road. And I thought about it, probably on Saturday at 10 and noon, the traffic may not be so horrible. So you may be able to position yourselves in good places to talk about the houses that are on Meridian Road. So on page 16, point F, you've basically come from Pine Street School and you're standing on the corner in front of 829 North Meridian Road. And then just because of the traffic and everything and the lights there, then I have you crossing. And you can look at the houses across the street and you can talk about the houses as you walk down. So there's and that's really kind of another interesting section of town too, because that, again, that's that early 1890s structures and all of the, Mr. Anderson, the mayor, he must have owned that whole block and subdivided it up. He also had that furniture store too, right? So he was buying and selling the land and then getting them to buy furniture for their houses. So quite the entrepreneur. And again, I just tried to make sure you kind of knew where to stood and where you could get a good vantage point. And again, you guys are going to be doing this and you'll work it out so that it's going to work best for you. And then we'll go on down, continue on Meridian Road and look at the houses that are over there, the Anderson block. And by the time you get back here, you'll be basically right across the street and be able to come right back in. In theory, I've walked it a couple times and it seemed to work okay. And again, I think you all will have a lot of stories to add to what I have here, but this is a pretty good, I think, basis to start from. And it kind of keeps you in this area, it covers, the creamery, the dairy industry, talk a little bit about the commercial, have a chance to look at residential properties, a little bit of the education. So that, I think, really is kind of a nice core tour. So do you all want to get out and walk it? Or do you feel like I've done a good job here?
Great job. I believe the Accent Funeral Home is now, it's been, the Loose Screw Brewery is going in there.
Oh, okay, so I'll fix that. I'll change that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, where Chapel
I'm
of
sorry,
Chimes
I'm-
is on Main Street,
Okay.
Carlton, that's the Loose Screw Brewing, Accents across the street.
Okay.
And I don't know my funeral.
Good thing.
So do you have, because if you have comments and you want me to change anything or whatever, you can shoot me an email, I would think would be the easiest way. I'd like to be able to have comments from everybody. See, next Friday is May 3rd. And that would give me time to make any changes or, if there's something you thought I glaringly missed, like a really important building that, you know, that I somehow didn't see when I was thinking about this, let me know and I can kind of adjust things. And then I'll add the additional photograph of the creamery. And I will get on here too, so that we know exactly what we're looking at when we're standing outside. I'll put that information on here too. Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. And actually, when people look at this, they're probably going to ask, are there any of those buildings that still stand today? And I think those two in the middle on that bird's eye view, I think those are the only ones that are still there. The other thing I thought, and I actually should add this in, I did not know this, but when the high school was built, constructed in 1913, a bunch of the leading mucky mucks, the Tollis, the Neals, I'm trying to think who else, who lived on Main Street and who lived on State Avenue, they contributed money to put sidewalks in so that when the kids walked to school, it was a paved walk all the way to the high school. I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that, so I thought that was fascinating. But I think, again, it'll take about an hour, hour and a half. And you guys have led tours, so you know how to kind of gauge what your audience wants. The school, I don't know if the school would be open that day. I don't know if the volunteers, I mean, because that was really fun when we got to go in the day that we had the first tour.
I think as long as we coordinate with the Pine Tree School, they'll have volunteers there for us that we can get in on the 18th.
Yeah.
We just need to talk to them and say, we're going to do a couple of tours on the 18th and we have someone available to have the school open for us. I think they will.
Because that was nice. That was really fun. It feels like something special to get to go inside that building.
Mm-hmm.
And also when Elizabeth Burgess let us into her house when she was working on it, that was fun too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she would be willing, to open the house up that day too, because that was definitely an added treat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think things like that would be a real added treat. And I mentioned also that since it is a fairly good walk, being able to stop a couple of times, like at the school or Talleth House, kind of gives you a break. And so, if that would be possible, I think that would be good too, even though it probably extends the time of the overall tour. But I think stopping there, taking a little break would be great.
And then you might, I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Bill, that you might consider too, I'm not sure where the sun is going to be. It could be if with the afternoon tour, you might want to go in reverse if you're going to be more in the shade.
Mm-hmm.
So you can start at, you can take this and start from the back and go that way, or, start here and head into downtown.
Mr. Neri.
And I remember in the past, Carol Stanley was the contact person for the Pine Street School. But I'm not sure if that was through the school district. I know they have their own group, that maintain the school, but the school district would be a contact point. But I know Carol was the person that we contacted previously. Okay. Okay.
I have the phone numbers of who we contacted last year. They're not through the school district. They're kind of their own.
Yeah, they're their own.
Barbara, is the saddlery, is that one, no, it's on Broadway. It looks like that is in this picture. It's the one where now the Roosevelt Bar. And
Oh.
Is that
I think you're right.
the Roosevelt Bar and then there's a men's hair salon or something?
So what would be fun, and I can do this, is I'll put the names. I know I can figure out what these buildings are, and then we can put what the contemporary thing is, so you can show that too. So I can do that. And there are a lot more photos. I didn't know how many you all might want to share. I mean, there are probably 7 or 8 more that are kind of interesting. I was trying to find some fun historic. I was going to also include, because we talk about the Sears houses, and I thought it would be interesting to get the plan that is similar to the house. I can't remember which it is, but have the plan from a plan book so you can see the similarities. So I'll put that in there too. And I don't know, I don't know if the house that's a Sears is supposed to be a Sears house, if they've actually authenticated it or not, but it's kind of, that's kind of interesting. So all of that's, just, it's kind of fun to talk about the plan houses. I think I mentioned a little bit about it with the house across from the Tolith house, because that house was probably built from plans. And so we'll put some pages in there too for that. So I hope this is gonna, I've walked it now a couple times, so I'm hoping that you guys, that it works well for you.
That's a
And
great job. You've done
Yeah.
a great job.
yeah, it's kind of fun.
Authenticating the Sears homes, from what I've read, is it pretty much all the pieces were marked, and that now typically the only way is you have to go underneath and look at the wood that's there, hoping to find some markings,
Oh.
or in the attic. Go up in the attic and look to see if there's any markings on any of the wood. But if it's a Sears home, then one place or the other should tell you.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know if this one, there's a group started by a woman who got interested in the Sears homes, and there's now a website, and so you can go, you've probably looked at it, and you can go on, and they're actually adding to the catalog of homes that have been authenticated. And there's supposed to be one over in Middleton too, but they haven't authenticated it. So anyway, it's kind of interesting. So it'll be fun, because when you come around the corner on Meridian Road, you go past that duplex, those funky little ranch duplexes, and then as you walk down, you come to that little Queen Anne. So it's that fun juxtaposition of the mid-century architecture, and then, all of a sudden you're with the Queen, the little Queen Anne, and you can still see all the details. So I think it'll be kind of fun. And again, I think people will look at everything with new eyes, because we're also in a hurry, and how many times are we zipping down Meridian Road, not even thinking anything about what's there? So I'm hoping you get a good turnout, because I think this would be really a lot of fun for, the people in the community. And again, especially all of these people who are moving here and don't realize, exactly what's left here. Yeah, it was fun to do, and I will get this brushed up. And so the 18th, so I would like to you probably would like to have them a week ahead, so that you have time to kind of look, and maybe on your own, you're going to want to walk it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be, I don't have my calendar, Cassandra. So if the 18th is Saturday, the previous Saturday is going to be
11th.
the 11th. So I could get them to you by the 10th. I would deliver them here
Mm-hmm.
to City Hall on the 10th. And that gives you a week. Does that seem like enough time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, I can do that.
Would you, when you say to City Hall, would you give them to Cassandra?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
will,
comments due by May 3rd.
by May 3rd, by next
And
Friday,
you'll deliver them on
on the,
May 10th.
on May 10th, yeah.
And I will give them to the front desk at Parks and Rec, so you can just come and pick them
Okay.
up. I'll send out an email when they're here.
Okay. Perfect.
And then this can be the basis. This would be great, because now you have something ready-made. So when you want to do your other special events, hopefully this will be what you can use. Any questions for me?
I think it looks good, Barbara. I really appreciate all your hard work, so.
Well, and I would like to put this bug in your ear again. So Preservation Idaho runs those, the Walkabout Boise in downtown Boise, and they do work that through about 6 or 7 volunteers that do it every Saturday from May until October now. I did it for a couple of years, but I haven't done it the last 2 years. But they're always looking at how to expand, and you may want to at some point have a conversation with Brittany, who's the president, and perhaps working through them and maybe being able to help them build volunteer base here. Maybe there's a way to work with them, because then the advertisement goes out
Oh, yeah.
through their website. Yeah, and even for this tour, Cassandra's going to do the publicity, but they usually pick up on things for Preservation Month and
Mhm.
whatever. So you may get some more interest that way as well. But if, might be a good partnership at some point. Yeah. All right, well, thank you. Yeah, I will add to this.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Does the commission want to go on a partial tour, full tour? We can walk a little bit if you'd like.
I'm all up for walking.
I'm all up. I opened up my calendar, so.
Okay. Since we'll
So I
still
think
probably have
this will conclude the portion of the meeting that's available online. We'll turn the online part off and then go on the walking tour, and then you can adjourn the meeting at the end.
so we'll adjourn meeting afterwards if we have a quorum. So I guess how many people are interested?
I may have to leave early because I
Okay.
have another meeting. I need to go to.
That's fine. Jack's ready? Heather? Okay.
Yeah.
Deborah? Patrick?
Yep.
Yeah, we will have a quorum. So we will continue the walking tour meeting at this point, and then when we get back here, we will officially adjourn. Do you need to know what time we adjourn for your notes?
Yes, if you could just give me a note.
We'll do that. Okay. We'll meet out front in a couple minutes and we can do a little bit of the tour.